So we have to create an object for Kafka producer, and the parameter we need to pass is the Kafka bootstrap server. So it can be one bootstrap server, it can be multiple. If it is a multiple bootstrap server, we have to specify with the comma separator. And then what is the value serializer you are going to use it? Okay, that you need to specify. That means, okay, in Kafka topic, whatever value, right, the data you publish, it should be published as a key value. Okay, so we have to specify key and value to the Kafka topic. So you have to specify what is the value type. It's like what is the data type of value. Okay, so it is actually the data type is basically is a encoded byte array. So when, if it is the messages has to be converted into byte array. Okay, there is a dump method we are using it. Okay, this is to serialize the object, okay, into the JSON format. Okay, this is this dump object. Okay, so it's if you, I hope if people it is it's a kind of lambda function in Python, right? You have to take the each value. Okay, and this is for iterating your it's anonymous function in the sorry, in Python. Lambda function is the anonymous function in the Python. Okay, so these two property, one is Kafka bootstrap server, second is the what is the type of your value. So value serializer you have to specify, and then remaining things all I'm going to cook up this message. My one message, did I print it? Okay. So it's failing in this here itself. Okay, let me. Okay, fine. So the message will just give me 1 minute. I'll save this. Okay. So the message will be the JSON message we publish will look like this. You have order ID and you have order date. We just print the current date and the order amount, and there are multiple properties. So that this message we are trying to cook up, means we are going to formulate it. Okay. For that, so this is you have to prepare this JSON message equivalent. The Python data type is dictionary, right? uh, JSON is represented in Python as a dictionary object. I hope you know what is dictionary object, which is key value pair, represented as a key value pair inside the flower bracket or curly braces. So these are the like kind of uh, sample data which we are taking up, like list of product names. I'm having it in a list object. Okay, so like laptop, other products, and the card type. So example, what is the if you make take one order message, whether what is the transaction that order is being placed with, what is the transaction type, means whether it is used by particular card type, Visa card or MasterCard or MasterCard. So those information, to cook up those information, we are having this as a list. And then I'm also taking list of country and city names so that we can do analysis based on the country or city. Here also we can do the analysis based on the card type, and which from each e-commerce website this order has been made. So I just put some few e-commerce website name. Okay, now so we have in the line number 55, we are just creating one Python message array. I don't think so that is going to use that for different purpose. I used. Okay, let do this. This is not needed. So we just have to create one message variable. I'm iterating the one. I'm actually going to publish set of messages to the Kafka topic. So you can change how many messages you want to publish. So for that, I just put it in a for loop. Like whenever using the range object, I can loop through this for loop that many times, whatever the number you pass it here. Okay. So it's just a simple for loop. Whatever the number you give, that many number of times this loop is going to iterate. Then inside that, for for order ID, I'm using the one counter value which is I. I'm just incrementing. I think the counter I set it as 0 initially. Okay, or the index of the value. So the range we are generating, right? That I value we are taking, and actually the range. If you don't specify, you can specify the range whether we have to start from 1 and start, or the initially if you don't provide this starting value, it will start with 0. So I'm just incrementing to 1 so that the I value will be 1. So I take that as the order ID, and then product name. So we have a list, right? List of products here. So we have list of products. So I want to choose the list randomly. Okay. I don't want to take by specifying the index of the value. So randomly I want to choose. So there is a class called random, and it has a method called choice. So random dot choice of, if you pass the list, it will pick one value from that list. So that is been considered as a product name. Okay, so we are forming the message which is of dictionary, and then first we are setting the order ID. And so I hope everyone know how to work with the dictionary, Python dictionary, right? So you can specify the square bracket and the key, and when you assign the value, it will go and get assigned there. Similarly, for card type, you pass the random dot choice of the card type list. For order amount, so I want to generate some random order values. So again, I'm using a random dot uniform. So you can give the range. So if you don't give, it will generate random numbers like big numbers, or it can be a very small numbers. But you can, I want to set the range like $5.5 to or 5.5 rupees to whatever currency you take, because it's just a number. So 5.5 to 555.5, and with the 2 decimal value. So it is going to generate every time that between these two range is going to generate the number that has been assigned for order amount. Order date, I'm just taking the current date. Okay, so date time dot now will generate the current time, and I'm actually going to format that. So it will give different format. I want to have it in this format, like Y, capital Y is nothing but Y for in the year format, Y, and month, date, and the hour, minute, second format. And then okay, so and also what I'm doing is I'm generating the we have a country and a city name appended together, right? So like with comma separator. So either you can send as it is, and you can do that splitting in the while doing the transformation on the processing, data processing layer, or actually you can split it here. Take the random value and split using the comma separator and have it in a order country and city name. And then finally, e-commerce site we are setting up by choosing the random from this list. Okay, so then once this message, which is a dictionary object, so we need to pass to the send method. So Kafka producer object dot send, you pass the topic name, which is the order under hyphen events is the topic, and we pass this message. So since it is a Python object, right? So Kafka takes the byte array. So that's the reason we are using the serializer, right? So this takes the whatever the dictionary object, it will convert into a byte array, okay, and then send it to the Kafka topic. So remember that whatever the format, the message format you pass, finally will publish the Kafka as a byte array. Because in the consumer side, when you consume the data, you have to actually decode that, deserialize that. Here we are doing the serialization, there we have to do the deserialization and then convert into your specific format. And I'm just putting a sleep for 1 second, time.sleep, and you pass this is in second. So every 1 second, this loop will run and the message will get published to the Kafka topic. Any question here?
Yeah, one thing like into that when you are creating that producer object in Kafka.
Correct.
So what about that bootstrap server? Can you explain a little bit more about, like you told, like there is multiple bootstrap server.
Yeah.
So what's the actually what is actually the necessity of that bootstrap server over there? I am not getting that
Okay.
particular
See.
question.
Okay. Kafka, you can think of as a Kafka is a like DB server, right? So
Okay.
on the DB server only we are going to publish Kafka. So that's our host name we have to provide. It's like host
Okay.
name of your DB server. Like if you want to connect this MySQL, right? If you want to connect to
Okay.
MySQL, this is a host name,
Hmm.
right? So this is like Bootstrap server is a name we give. It's nothing but the Kafka server.
Okay.
And since okay, so typically your Kafka cluster will be of like this. So you will have Kafka cluster with the multiple brokers. Each broker is nothing but one Kafka server or Kafka Bootstrap server.
Okay.
Okay, so it's generally just for this POC project as case study, we just made a single node cluster, but generally it will be a multi-node. Okay,
Okay.
that's the distributed system always multi-node. Okay,
Okay. Yeah.
yeah, so
Understood.
that's the reason we have to provide the Bootstrap server.
So, sir,
Yeah,
actually, I have one question here.
yeah,
We are doing a serialization and deserialization.
correct,
Serialization for the producing the
correct.
messages and deserialization for consuming the message.
Consuming the
So if
message.
we will not do serialization and deserialization, still we can produce the message.
See what happens is, see, if I don't specify here, right, it will go uh, as a dictionary object. What is the type of this message? What is the data type of this message? It's a dictionary, right? Python dictionary,
Yes. Yes.
right? So this send method will not accept the dictionary object. So if you look at the
Okay.
send method, topic and value, what is the value is message value, the type, there must be the type bytes or be serialized to bytes via configured value serializer. So it
Mhm.
must be a byte array.
Okay, I think they have handled in the send method only
Send method,
because
yes.
serialization is necessary because when message will go over the network, it should be serialized, right?
Correct.
Okay, got it. Suppose that if my message is Avro itself, I don't think so. We need to serialize it because that is a binary process, right?
Sorry, can you repeat?
Suppose that my message is in Avro format. So in that case also we do not would need
No,
to
you have to convert to Avro serializer.
Okay, got it.
Yeah, from Avro format to byte format you have to find out. So anyway, so whatever the message format you have, it has to be binary. The final, as you mentioned, when it want to flow via network, it has to be a binary.
Okay. One more question I have it that
Yes.
suppose that if I want to give just a JSON object to the Kafka directly, I want to produce. I think Kafka will handle it and it will serialize itself inside.
No, actually, because we have see.
No. Suppose that this is just a Python program. So when we are sending it, send method is taking serialize object.
Correct.
But when I will use server itself, okay, in a Kafka broker, I'm connecting, and then means I am having an edge node, and then edge node I'm connecting to the Kafka broker.
How do you connect?
No. Just I will send the message because
No.
if I will send the JSON object, it will take JSON object itself.
Yeah,
Are you able to
yeah, I understood. But see, when you want to interact with, right, it can be a DB server or Kafka or what, there is a utility you need to use, client, right? Without client, we cannot talk to the. So your point is right. So when you use the command line Kafka producer, I will show you the utility where there you can paste the whatever the JSON string you have. Yeah, that will convert automatically.
I think the Kafka will take care of that serialization.
Yeah, when you use the command line Kafka, that's what I'm saying. It's so there is a utility you need to use. It's not.
Utility.
Yes.
Yeah, like we are creating a Kafka object, Kafka block, that Kafka topic. Same thing. We can use it, right?
Yes, you can use it. So this I'll show you. So there is a utility called.
Yes, it is taking care of it.
Yeah, so
this is Kafka producer.
Kafka producer, right? Somewhere it will be there.
Yeah, it's first line. First list.
Okay, in the first list.
Yeah, 7th, 8th number. Consumer Kafka consumer.
Yeah, it's there. So when you use this utility, then you don't need to do the specify the serializer. But that will only for we perform that is in only shell.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. Fine. Okay. Any other question?
Yeah, I am good.
Okay. Let me run this. Okay. Now we saw the producer. Okay. So when we are going to run this program, it is going to publish, right? So we have to test, right? Whether the data is published on the topic. Okay. There are the only way, or maybe the way to check is you have to consume the data and check it whether the data is there. There is other way also. There is one I don't have it right now. The setup on my machine. There is a Kafka web UI is there. We can configure that, and you can see if you go to the topic and see that, you can see the messages. But internally it uses the consumer only there also. But as you see that as a web UI, but internally it uses a consumer. I will actually check it in the offline. I will tell you the steps how you can. Using the web UI, you can go and see the topic and its messages, right? I will tell you later point. I don't have currently the setup in my machine. For now, we will use the Kafka consumer command line consumer. So we will use this command line consumer so that when we run the program, it will publish the data to Kafka topic, and we will consume and see the data. Okay, so this is one window where I'm going to run this program, and I will create one more terminal window. I'll just duplicate this. Okay, here I'm going to run this command. You see, if you scroll down to the bottom, there is a consumer. Okay, Kafka-consumer console consumer.sh. Provide the topic name, and there is a property from beginning, which means from starting of the message, which is published on the event order events topic, it will print, and you have to specify the Bootstrap server. Okay, I'll just run this in another terminal. Okay, so it is going to start listening the top. Is there any messages coming? Okay, so I started the consumer. Now let's start the producer. Okay. So run this program. To Python and your Kafka producer.py. Yes, okay. So I am actually this Python 3. So Python 3 for space, I given the producer program name. Now it has started publishing the message for every 1 second. Okay, and you see the consumer window where it is getting consumed from the topic, and it's printing it here. So this is producer. Just minimize this. This is the producer program. The other is command line consumer. So now instead of command line consumer, we are going to write the PySpark program and consume the data and do the processing. That's the idea. I hope all of you getting right.
But in both the windows, the values are getting displayed, right? Means both the sessions.
Yeah, so that's all right. So if I pass some message, you will receive the same message, right? As it, that's what here it is deserialized by the consumer, the cell consumer we are using. That's a question, or what is your question?
Okay, so producer also will display the, I mean.
No, this I am printing it. I am just.
Oh, you are printing in the. Okay.
It's printing now. I just put it to this print message.
Oh, okay.
If I comment out this will not print.
Okay, good.
So just printed 100 messages and it stopped. The loop stopped. And here it will go and just keep listening for the messages. Okay, now this part is understood, right? So step 1 is fine, and steps 2 is we already set up, and we see the message in the Kafka topic. Like we are not able to go and check it in a Kafka web UI because I don't have it. So we saw using the consumer. So this 2 part is done. Now we'll go back to the third part. Okay, which is the data processing. Okay, and then okay, before we run this the Spark streaming program, we have to create the database, MySQL database. Okay, let's go here. So log into the MySQL and create the database name eComDB. I just make this MySQL -u. The root is the username -p. Enter the password. Show databases. So we'll create database eCommerce. Okay. The DB is created now. Okay. I'll just come out of this. Okay. Now, before running our code, I mean, before exploring our streaming code, I will also set up this the dashboard. Why I'm just saying is, so okay, so the dashboard will help you to create the tables in this. Now we just created a MySQL database here. We have to create tables, right, to publish our data, raw data. Anyway, we are going to publish on SDFS. For aggregated data, we are going to create the tables in a MySQL. That we are not creating manually. We are actually having a Python model class, and which will help when you run the Django application, it will create the tables automatically. Okay, so let me show you that. Okay, this is the Django project, real-time_chart. So Django project, you'll have a project and it'll have multiple applications. Okay, Django, the structure itself, you will have a project which is real-time chart, and it'll have it can have multiple applications. One of the application is a chart. So charts in the plural. So in the charts is one of the application, and Django real-time chart is the project. Okay, in the charts you will have a models.py. So I created two models. Okay, when I say model, is just a plain class. Okay, one I'm just going to do the sales. A simple aggregate. Just whatever the order you get, you are going to just find out what is the total sale per card type. Okay, so based on the which card type the transaction is made, we just do the simple aggregate. So each batch. So I told you we are going to find out the aggregate for each batch. So which means you can set the batch interval. So if it is a 5 second, so every 5 second, it will find out the total value for card type and store it in this table. Okay, this is the total sale. Similarly, we just find out the total sale based on the country. So for that, two class I'm creating. So there will be two tables. One is sales by card type. Another table will be sales by country. So this is the definition of class. If you are familiar with Java or .NET, these are the POJO classes or simple model classes. You have to specify the data type like this. Okay. Now when you run the Django application, based on the class definition, it will go and create the table. As simple as that. Okay. We will go through other programs. I will walk through other programs later, but this program will create the tables in the MySQL DB. Okay. All right. Now, okay. So for that, first we will navigate to the Django project structure. Okay, I'll just come on step back. So just get into the real-time_chart folder, cd real-time chart. So, and open this. So again, we have to, I think this step we already done it in the during Python setup. You can ignore it. If you face any issue while installing the package, we will install this. So now let me show you what are the packages we are installing as part of this Django application, right? So we are going to install the Django framework, and there is something called channels, which is actually used to for real-time update. We are using this channel in the Django, and channel Redis and the MySQL client. So the Django application is going to connect to the MySQL and get the data and show it as a chart, as a pie charts and a bar chart. So that's the reason we have need to install the MySQL client, which is a Python package. Okay, these are the 4 packages we are going to install, right? So before you run this command, so we want to run it in a, either you can have it in like run directly, or you can run it inside the virtual environment, so that you will have isolation environment. So let me activate my virtual environment. So it is source home data making, I think environment, I guess, data making activate. So data making is activated. Now I'll run this pip3 install -r. It's not okay. Yes, it is there. Right. Pip3 install -r. So initially it is installing the Python Django. Sorry, Python Django framework it installed. It installed the channel package also, and the channel Redis, and it is trying to install MySQL client, and we see some error message. Setup I config something. Okay, so for this you run for now. It is something MySQL config not found. So for that, you just run this command. I don't know what exactly it is, because MySQL is already there. Still it is. When actually go browse through the error log, then I got the suggest to install these the Linux packages, so that the issue will go. Okay, so you just make note of it. Line number, if you face any issue while installing MySQL client, then install this packages in the Linux. Now again, I'll try to install this. Okay. Just ignore this message. Okay, just ignore this invalid alert thing. But it installed this MySQL client also. You see here, building MySQL is fine. And installing packages successfully installed, and you will have MySQL client here. Yeah, MySQL client 2.1 installed. Just ignore this message, warning message or error message. It will work fine. Okay. So and then, so now what we did is we just open our Django application, and we install the packages, required packages, running this command. Okay. I just mentioned, just ignore this one. And then what you need to do is, just hold on for a minute. Sorry. So now to create that tables, right? So there is something called Python migration we need to do. So it's a two-step process. Python space manage.py. There's this whenever you run this command in that location, that manage.py program should be there because we are using this manage.py to create the tables in a MySQL based on the Pojo class, or which is models. Make migration. And then migrate. Python space manager.py migrate. So it is going to create the tables. So the tables are sales by country. There are other few tables will get created because the Django applications uses some for administration purpose for Django application. It creates some other tables as well. For now, you can ignore that. So we are more interested on the tables which we want to store the aggregated data. Now log into MySQL.
Here we are seeing only one table, right?
I'll show you. I will show you. MySQL user and user is root-p. So databases, we know it is there. Use eCommerce. Show tables. So you see there are a couple of tables are got created for Django applications because Django provides the administration functionality. So you can create users, you can have the roles, other stuff. So anyway, that's not, we are not using in this project. So we can just, so we are more interested on these two tables. Okay. Now this table is created. If you go and see go to this table, nothing, no data is there. Even the table is no data. So until now, the tables are created in the MySQL. The next step is we want to run the streaming application, and then that streaming application go and act as a consumer for your Kafka. And then once you consume the data, we are going to process it. So these are the two steps. And then finally the processed data will be written into the MySQL. So we have 1 minute left. So we'll stop and again join the same link. So we'll start the next program in the after coming back.